O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you. Thank you, Brad. We have the Novato Police Chaplain here. Come up and give us, here she comes. We'll have the benediction and then George, invocation. All right, well, anyway, invocation, and then George, you want to give a few remarks? Okay?
Let's pray. God, we're so grateful for your presence with us as we gather together. Throughout your word, you call us to remember, and today is a day that we choose to remember. God, we recognize how you have taken care of us in so many ways as a nation. And today we gather to say thank you to those who have given their all. We ask, God, that your presence would create within us the ability to remember with grateful hearts, that your presence would give us the ability to find joy and peace even amid those times of sorrow. And again, we are grateful that you are here and that you have blessed us in so many ways. We pray this in your name. Amen.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank everybody for being here. Just to let you know a few things of what's going on around here. Those of you who were here last year see on the photo the benches we finished last year just a week before the Memorial Day holiday, and then over this year we've got the new trellis over this as well. One other item, you're welcome after we're done here to take a walk through the new office building. The old office building will stay there. People ask me if I'm going to tear that down. There's a beautiful chapel. We want to keep that, of course. But you're welcome to take a walk in there, and there's some cookies inside you're welcome to. The restrooms are in the new building. The old building, we're doing some work in there, so the old restrooms are locked up. So inside the new building are the restrooms. But first of all, let me thank all those who have come out. The members of Novato City Council, Mayor Eklund, the fire department is represented, the police department is represented, Novato's Junior ROTC program is here, the Elks Lodge, and many, many others. Who have I missed? I think we've got members of the VFW here with us, and we appreciate their being here. We appreciate the members. There's a few members of the American Legion and probably some other veterans groups that I don't know everybody here, but when we hosted the Vietnam Wall, the replica of the Vietnam Wall back 20 years ago now in 1996, we had 27 veterans groups between Marin and Sonoma County man that for that full week that it was here. And the shift change was at 3 a.m. and everybody came out and participated there. We really appreciate all that's going on. We love our veterans here. We're grateful for the service that you provide to our country. We are so happy to be able to host this. I've been here for 35 years, and John said this is 35. The veterans have been doing this long before I came here in January of 81. And a number of years ago, we had the Boy Scouts and the Cub Scouts and the Girl Scouts involved with placing flags, and we're grateful for all that they do there. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn the mic back over to John to introduce our program.
Thanks, George. We have welcoming remarks by Pat Eklund, the mayor of, let's see, you're mayor of Novato, aren't you?
Thank you very much, John. First of all, I want to welcome all of you for coming today and remembering and honoring our service members and those who gave their lives for our freedom and for our country. I first want to thank the Boy Scouts Troop 27. Where are you? Can you raise your hands? And also the Cub Scout Pack of 27. Please give them a round of applause. They placed over 700 flags at the grave sites of our fallen heroes here at Valley Memorial Park. Great job, guys. Very much so. I also want to thank the Novato Elks Lodge. If you can, all the members, raise your hand. And then also the Novato High School Air Force Junior, ROTC. Raise your hands, except for those that are on duty, I guess. And the Novato Fire Protection District, the Novato Police Department. Here comes Mike Howard. And thank you very much. And all the other veteran groups for helping to make this Memorial Day happen and to make it one of the most successful ones. A special thank you to John Sammons, who has organized this event and has done an outstanding job in putting it together, especially under a short time frame. And I also want to, yay, John. And I also want to recognize George Estes, right over here, who just spoke before me. And he has been here for a long time at Valley Memorial. And I've seen him on happy occasions, sad occasions. And George, I want to thank you in Valley Memorial Park for always hosting this on Memorial Day and for recognizing the value of those who gave their lives in battle or to make sure that we are free. And then also to take care of everyone here. You do it with such passion and with such commitment. And it really touches my heart every time I come because you're here. Let's give them a round of applause. Memorial Day is a reminder that our freedoms come at a great cost. It is a day to take a moment and pause, remember, and give thanks to those who gave the ultimate sacrifice. It's not about division. It's about reconciliation. It is about coming together to honor those who gave their all. My dad served in the Philippines during World War II. He was one of the lucky ones that came home, but he lost some of his buddies. He lost his childhood friends to war. And he never really spoke much about his experiences or the feelings that he had at being shot at or seeing his comrades die or get lost and never be found. I can only imagine the emptiness and that incredible and indescribable loss of life that he felt. Today, people throughout the country are gathering to remember, to honor, and to pay tribute to those lost troops and their families. Our gathering is just one small spark in this flame of pride across the country today and every day. Today, wherever you are, whoever you're with, whatever you're doing, I'm going to ask you to pause at 3 p.m. this afternoon. Ring a bell, offer a prayer, say a silent thank you, and remember and honor the men and women who served us gave the ultimate sacrifice so we can continue to enjoy the freedom that we have to live, to say what we want, to worship how we choose. For that, on Memorial Day, we thank every American who has passed from battle into the light. Again, I want to thank you all very much for coming here. God bless you all. God bless America. And God bless the fallen who paid the ultimate price so that we might know freedom. John, thank you again very much.
You know, we're fortunate to have two, in addition to the mayor, two speakers. One, Air Force Lyndon. He had a tour of duty at Dice Air Force Base, which is about 50 miles from where I grew up. And Ed Dice, who the base is named after, is from my hometown. Now, I can't blame it on him because it was the B-52s before him that stopped my mother's chickens from laying when they were flying around on us. You know, they were noisy brutes. So anyway, Colonel, you want to come up and...
Good morning. How's everybody doing? All right. It's great to see everybody, and it really is an honor for me and for the Air Force that we get to come out and enjoy this morning with all of you, both with the city of Novato, with the mayor, with Admiral Savidio. It's a bad habit, and over here in the Air Force we have. Pardon me. To our wonderful veterans. To the Boy Scouts. So stick with it, guys. I'd like to know I'm a 17 and a half Eagle Scout. So you're either going to get it at 15 years or 17, just before your 18th birthday, right? Stick with it. So I'm telling you, it does a lot for you, even though it's a lot of hard work. To the Cub Scouts, to the ROTC guys, also stick with it. It pays off in the end. It really does. I'm coming over to you. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Jens Lindrup. My wife, Courtney, my son, Tom and Anna are with you today over from Travis Air Force Base. We are about 5,500 strong active duty Guard and Reserve members engaged in the Global Mobility Mission. We've got, we like to say we have 5 weapon systems over at Travis. We've got KC-10s, we've got C-5s, we have C-17s. We have the David Grant Medical Center, which many of you may have received treatment at, and we also have our fantastic aerial port, which helps to keep us all busy, loaded, and on time. Myself, I'm the commander of the 660th Aircraft Maintenance Squadron, which means we have 300 airmen under me that fix and maintain the KC-10 extender aircraft, which is an air refueling aircraft that travels around the world and across the Pacific, moving fighter aircraft, moving cargo, and helping to project American power forward to both bolster our allies and say with resound that we are here and we're not going anywhere to our adversaries. Additionally, many of our airmen deploy to the Middle East, where, especially within the KC-10 community, we have had a continuous presence for 25 years, first in Desert Storm, then Northern Watch and Southern Watch, on to Enduring Freedom, Iraqi Freedom, and today over the skies of Iraq, Syria, and Afghanistan, as we deliver air power against ISIS and the Taliban. Every one of our airmen have very personal reasons for joining and serving. They're amazing professionals, and I'm very proud of all that they achieve. Memorial Day is personal for all of us, regardless of your service, regardless of your ties, but as Americans, it's all a very personal day. For some of it's a day to remember a family member, a friend, or a neighbor who died in service to our country. Sometimes that person, when they die, leaves a hole in ourselves, in our family, in our community that can't be filled. But for all of us, Memorial Day is a time to remember that our countrymen died in service to our country, in wars great and small, long ago and sometimes a moment ago, and that we must continue to honor and support their families as they try to move forward. What's important to me about Memorial Day is how this day is about people. As the families of these 700 veterans will attest, war can be a very personal event. While we may not always understand the purpose of war, we understand its cost to individuals and their families. As Joseph Heller, author of Catch-22, wrote, that men die in war is a matter of necessity. Which men die, though, is a matter of circumstance. No military officer ever desires to lose someone under their command, and no one goes into battle planning to die. For some, it may be a selfless act to save a comrade in arms from certain peril. For others, it may be a matter of chance or mere inches. And regrettably, some, like the death of my friend Major Jeffrey Osborne in Afghanistan, are a senseless tragedy. We seek to make sense of the loss, but in most cases, we just can't. It's just too hard. We must remember their sacrifices and honor their service, for theirs is the face of our national loss. But this day is also a day to recognize what their sacrifice means. As we continue our long fight against terrorism, the numbers lost to action pale in comparison to the larger, more costly battles that we've seen in this nation's history. Normandy, the Argonne Forest in World War I, and Gettysburg. These battles and their dead shaped the future of our nation and defined the international order so that the world would not feel the scale of that kind of loss again. These 700 veterans buried here, many who served and died in Vietnam, secured the free world from those who tested our resolve to maintain that kind of order. We are grateful to them and to the 1 million soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines who helped create a more peaceful world for all of us. While we will never eliminate war, they have created a world where war is far less likely, so that our generation and future generations should never know the scope and scale of that loss again. While we take time to remember those close to us who we've lost, today is a national celebration, a celebration of those that died and that they did so to preserve our freedom to define our lives as we choose. We are grateful to these Americans and that they lived and served, for in doing so they took their turn standing up for our beliefs and paid the ultimate sacrifice to prove our resolve. The circumstances of their individual sacrifices may, in fact, be just that, a matter of unfortunate circumstance. But combined, they become more meaningful and powerful, unifying our heart, sanctifying our nation, and speaking boldly of our strength as Americans. Thank you for continuing to support the men and women of our armed forces and those serving overseas. This generation of young people are smart, patriotic, and professional, and they're eager to join and support to defend the Constitution against all its enemies. They travel great distances, engage in great effort, and often in extreme environments to meet our foes, assist our friends, and demonstrate to the world that the United States will always be there. With your support, these great Americans, like the generations before them, and like all of you, will be successful in their mission, despite its toll. Thanks to them, and thanks to all that went before them, we will preserve peacefully. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Colonel. Now, our next speaker is Rear Admiral Joseph Servidio, United States Coast Guard. Let's see, I see an extra stripe on that arm from last year, don't I? Maybe. Okay. The Admiral is the Commandant of the 11th Coast Guard District. His responsibility goes from Oregon to way to hell and gone down in South America. So, Admiral.
Thanks, John. Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing? Thanks, John, again for hosting this 35th Memorial Day celebration here at Valley Memorial Park. Mayor Eklund, George. city council members, Colonel Lindrup, ROTC Color Guard, Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, thanks for being here, and thanks for putting the flags of both remembrance and acknowledgement of service on the graves here today. I'm going to keep my remarks brief, but hey, I'm an admiral, so nothing is really brief. And I know I could say that everyone before me has said it all, but again, I'm not going to be that brief either. Whether in a public ceremony or a private prayer, and Gold Star, moms and dads, those that have lost a child in war, every day for them is Memorial Day. I think what's important about Memorial Day is our remembering and thanking those who wore the uniform before and made the sacrifice, many of whom did not know they'd be making the ultimate sacrifice when they were called to serve. Memorial Day started a little bit over 150 years ago when it was known as Decoration Day, decorating the graves of the Northern soldiers who were lost during the Civil War. Today, many celebrate instead that Memorial Day is the start of the summer, grilling, boating, relaxing, maybe seeing a singing star at the Memorial Day concert last night, their favorite movie star at a theater, or maybe their favorite sports star in Game 7 at the Oracle Arena tonight. I thank you all for, in addition to doing the grilling and the boating or other things, taking the time and rising early and remembering the true stars of today, the men and women who valiantly fought for our freedoms and gave their lives in the service of our nation. Last week was Armed Forces Day down in Torrance, California, and that's the longest running Armed Forces Day in the nation. And Joe Montagna, who happens to be one of the co-stars of the Memorial Day concert, gave a quick talk. And what he said is that when he was first asked to co-host, he was there with the singing stars and the movie stars and the acting stars, and he was asked to read a letter from a Vietnam War veteran. And he said that's when it truly struck him that the stars of Memorial Day are the names that are engraved on the Vietnam's memorial and not the people that were on the stage today. So I thank you for being here and remembering the true stars today, which are those that are buried under the flags that the Cub Scouts and the Boy Scouts put here at Valley Memorial Park. And in closing, let me leave you with two quotes. First, Elmer Davis. Show of hands, does anyone know who Elmer Davis is? Doesn't surprise me, neither did I. But he was a World War II reporter, and he also was the first director of the Office of War Information during World War II. And Elmer Davis is the one who said, "This nation will remain the land of the free only so long as it's the home of the brave." And the second quote, as we ponder closing remarks, the benediction and taps on this Memorial Day, is Martin Luther King's words. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Thank you for rising early and for memorializing and remembering the true stars of today so we can be free to enjoy this day and all the future days. Semper Paratus, may God continue to bless this city, our country, and the men and women who stand watch and guard our freedom. Thanks.
Thank you, Admiral. Phil, do you want to bring your wreath up?
Who's going to help? I'll grab one of them.
Here comes a scout right behind you. I promised my wife I would not make too long a closing remarks. So I was asked what Memorial Day meant to me. And that was a damn hard question to answer. And I finally reflected back that over the years, I can't tell you how many times I've knelt in front of grieving parents, wives, and even children, and presented the folded flag with the what some people might think of as a pro forma response. Trust me, it's not, because sometimes when you kneel, present the flag, stand, do an about face, take about 3 steps, and that's when the tears start. So that's what Memorial Day means to me. And Brad is going to sing America the Beautiful. Then we'll have the benediction, and then we'll have taps. Now, when you hear those 24 notes of taps, I guarantee you, in my eyes, there'll be tears. So many times have I heard that over the years. So, Brad. Brad, by the way, you're MSA?
Yeah, I went to Marine School of the Arts.
Marine School.
Did 4 years of junior ROTC at Novato High School as Corps Commander. Now I'm at San Diego State Air Force. So I went to Marine School of the Arts at Novato High School. Did 4 years of junior ROTC at Novato. Was the Corps Commander, and now I'm on scholarship for Air Force ROTC at San Diego State. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesty, above the fruited plains. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Thank you, Brad. Before Pam does the benediction, I'd like for everybody to take a look at these ROTC cadets standing here. This year, if I'm not mistaken, we have 2 going to the Air Force Academy. We have 1 going to West Point. We have 1 going to UCLA on a full 4-year scholarship. Anybody else, Yosh?
Ashley Hatfield, who isn't a cadet, she's going to the Coast Guard Academy.
Oh.
Standing right over there.
Ashley, are you here? Okay, she's going to the Coast Guard Academy. Okay? So, for a small unit, they have a hell of an impact. And as soon as the last notes of taps finish, everybody can come up to the new office for coffee, cookies, and just to get acquainted with everybody. And thank you again for coming. Over the years, 19 years, I see this get larger and larger and larger. You know, we used to be in the parking lot over here. Now, look at where we are. Pam? Who's doing it? You're doing it. Okay. Wrong one.
God, we thank you for this gathering today, and we thank you for the opportunity to give tribute and respect, remembrance, and honor to those who have given their lives for us, and also for their families who have sacrificed so much. Our hearts are humbled and filled with gratefulness for their service to our country. And help us to remember beyond today the great price that was paid for our freedom, and help us not to take it for granted. We pray for all of those who continue to serve our country and all those who serve to protect us. Says that the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.